got StreamYard. I got like the yearly subscription because I want to start like actually streaming too. So like I'm trying to utilize it.
You would be good. Like your Foreign Friday is still goated at this point. Like people enjoy. I gotta bring you back on at some point. Like people for some reason enjoy the single ones because like me alone because I get to talk to them specifically. But they also enjoy like the interview style, like co-host type of thing because it's as long as it's like a mutual vibe, you know. But like yours was goated. Like you know your stuff. Like you could talk on the spot. You should definitely start streaming.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's something I'm looking into for this year. But we are recording. All right, cool. So, hello. This is Foreign. He's the best. And I reached out to him because you know, I know some things about this issue, but it's always better to have a conversation with somebody who, you know, is as informed or more informed, and we can like, you know, bounce ideas off each other. So welcome to the video, Foreign. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege and a pleasure. I'm a fan. You know, I love especially like how the internet fell out of love series, goated series at this point, the succession of YouTube type series. So, you know, like it's mutual. The love is mutual.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Well, today we are talking about one Miss Ariana Grande, and here is my kind of perspective and how I'm coming at this, because this video is kind of entirely about like Ariana's like she's gone through an image sort of transformation as Wicked has come out. She kind of looks very unrecognizable, and I feel like that is obvious if you look at her now versus her 10 years ago. But what I'm finding now, I think because Wicked like was so well received and she's in this awards conversation, is that like people are almost like willing to have a more, I guess, complicated conversation about whether or not Ariana Grande has appropriated other cultures, whereas I feel like a year or so ago it was like a very commonly understood thing that she is doing that. So I'm kind of confused because I'm like, I don't know if it's because like the definition of what cultural appropriation versus appreciation, like that definition has changed. I'm not sure if it's because like she's just won a lot of goodwill back and people are kind of fickle with this sort of thing. So I don't know. I guess I'll pose that question is like, why do you think that conversation is like a little bit different now?
No, that's actually like a really good point that I hadn't even considered. Like it's only cultural appropriation when you don't like the person more times than not. But I think with Ariana Grande, it is extremely complicated. Ariana Grande is extremely talented. Like, let's get out of the jump. Like, extremely talented vocalist. I have gone on record for saying that her whistle tones rival Mariah Carey's whistle tones. I've gotten a lot of flack for this, but I will die on that hill. And she is a talented actress. But I think one of the things that have overshadowed her in the past, or at least like we weren't willing to talk about too critically, is the fact that like she has multiple different personas, versions of herself, and they all are on the backs of different marginalized communities. So we've seen my favorite era of Ariana. I could say it, a lot of people can't, but Nigiana Grande, that is her black persona. That is, you got clips, you got so many clips. Like she's all like, this is my juice, like this is my cookie, thank you, next. Like I don't wanna say it too much because like I'd be sounding like I'm beginning to culturally appropriate, like, you know, some gay like black folks. So like I can't say it too much, but let me tell you, like she will say it with her whole chest. And she said that like she has like you say, Kayomi, get your ass over here. Like she is, there's so many different clips, quotables from Nigiana Grande, like that era of her in particular, that it is obvious that she was in her Stanislavskian acting bag when it came to that. And as easy as she's been able to do that, I have to preface, of course, that she did have a black writer, especially for that era of albums. So some things that I've understood is that she was very much in community with black folks, and some of that spilt over. I don't necessarily have too much of a problem with that. Like as far as just like the black scent, I'm just like, why are you even doing that? But the way that she was able to use her influences, and definitely she appreciates black soul music, black R&B in particular. so it's obvious that she isn't a very clear, she's not a Drake. You know, like she is in community with these people. She is very much paying homage to a lot of the folks that paved the way for her to sing like this. I have a problem more so with the audience that is receptive to listening to her, giving her flowers and accolades, but not giving the black R&B artist that you don't be hearing about. You don't be giving her or the black artist that like basically influenced her the same accolades as that. You love the black culture, you just don't like the black people that, you know, potentially made the culture. But you've also seen it not only in My Hue, you've seen it very much with her appropriating, she's been accused of appropriating Asian culture, like she's been Asian fishing. This is a, you know, Italian, white, very, very much white woman that was in Miami. I don't see, you know, there's definitely a melting pot going on there, but like, how do you get to this conclusion so many different times? So at a particular point, you begin to wonder, who are you? Like, who was it? The girl that we saw on screen, like in Victorious? Was it, you know, Sam and Cat? Like, who are you? And then, of course, the latest transformation, Perfect Cell, if you will, you know, basically what she did for Wicked. We're not sure if she did it for Wicked or this is just what we're seeing now. And there's also been speculation, I don't want to get into too much, about like potential ED, because I think that she has maybe written about it a little bit on Tumblr. Journalist integrity, you check me on that. But like, it is complicated, and the way that we moralize people losing weight is not necessarily productive and conducive to people who might very well be going through stuff that we don't even know about. I mean, like we've seen Chadwick Boseman, but even beyond that, to just pontificate that she's sick because she lost a lot of weight is also problematic, as thinking that she is on Ozempic or on all of these different things. We should just probably leave commentary about people's bodies to themselves, because you never know what's going on. You never know what the final straw is for people to say, oh, okay, I knew I needed to shed a little bit of pounds. I'm going to go deeper into it. And yeah, sorry, I talk a lot.
No, that was so good. I think one of the, and you touched on a lot of it, the most interesting thing that I've been seeing is that like, yeah, her current like evolution, it's no doubt like that since her career, you've seen it, like we all have eyes. We've seen that she went from, you know, like Nickelodeon and being like a Disney star to kind of adopting this other image in her pop music to now like being essentially like Glinda,
very
like
white
all the time, like very white. And I think there's been a lot of people who I've seen online who are like not necessarily willing to give that a pass, but just being like, well, she's been through a lot, and she has been through a lot. Like if you look through like Ariana's like, you know, whole kind of timeline, because I've looked at it, like she has been through a lot. And so people are, I guess, are arguing that it's not necessarily like an intentional choice to like appropriate or like assume different identities that benefit her. Rather, it's just that like that's what she's always done. You know what I mean? Like she has adopted the personality of like the people that she has surrounded herself with, and therefore it's not like malicious intent. It's just that that's what she has like always done and always has known how to do, because she like, you know, was a child actor and like has grown up in the spotlight. And I guess you don't, you know, necessarily, not to assume like what her psyche is at this point, but it's like people are, I think the more common argument that I'm seeing now is that like it's less of like a malicious intentional thing, but regardless of that, like she's still benefiting
exactly
from that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like she's still benefiting from like, in this award season, she's everywhere, and she's in all of these like press clips, and she's very sort of like prim and proper, and like and making these relationships and these connections with these other Hollywood people. And we all know that she's like vying for an Oscar right now, and the people who run a lot of those institutions are white. Like,
I mean, we even see, not to cut you off, we even seen the pandering, like very bad pandering too, with the Emily, I think, movie, the one where it's just like penis to vagina. Like,
oh my God, Amelia Perez.
Yeah, that one. I ain't even watch it. I just saw the clips, but all I needed to see was that, and I was just like, no, pack it up, because you have like very talented art, like pieces of art from these marginalized communities, but that is what will get accolades. Like not only the bare minimum, but in many different cases, a parody of that very pandering, all right in time for it to be overturned with the new era of edginess that's going to come when Trump gets in, but even beyond that, I mean, before that. But more importantly, like I do want to be clear that like, as you rightfully said, she benefits from a system. Like, regardless if she is cognizant of it or not, like, regardless if she went the whole Billie Eilish route and like she began wearing, you know, like looking like an early rapper from the 2000s, like looking like Soulja Boy, wearing baggy pants and a do-rag, like, or queer baiting, if you want to go and get into Billie Eilish, that's a whole nother video. This is about Ariana Grande. The whole fact is like she does benefit from even the privilege of being able to do that. And like she could still take it off and adorn a whole nother costume whenever she pleases, whether she's doing it genuinely or not, whether she is that white or like, you know, she just been in, I don't know how you get that white so quickly, because like she was tanning like goddamn, she was tanned all the way. She was almost as black as me. And then now she as white as the days are long. So I mean, like, she could do that, and that's a benefit, and that gives her access into rooms that black people who can't tan, or I mean, you can bleach, but still, you will never alleviate yourself of the stain of blackness and melanin. So in particular, like that is a benefit, and that is a trend. Not only that's a trend, that is a marketing ploy. Like people use blackness and the black aesthetic a lot of the time to get acclaim, not only like critically and like use like black sound, like rap or whatnot. Like you've seen Jack Harlow use the black aesthetic and hip hop, and then all of a sudden turn into singing country songs. And you know, you've seen Post Malone do the same thing. You've seen Elvis Presley. You know, this is decades old, not centuries old. But this is a well-marketed, oiled machine also to present growing up. Like Miley Cyrus was seen as this very dainty, childlike, puerile child actor. And when she wanted to be taken seriously, wanted to be taken like an adult, what did she do? She leaned into blackness. She began, you know, twerking. She began doing songs with Mike Will Made It. And the reason for that, even if she isn't cognizant of it, is because blackness is synonymous with maturity. Blackness is synonymous with salaciousness, and blackness is seen as a growing up. So at that point, Ariana Grande, when she was singing Broadway tunes as a kid, because she was always a theater kid, and she needed to matriculate and get out of this Sam and Cat, you know, victorious persona that is very much childlike, very much, you know, Lolita type shit. And then all of a sudden, she gets right into the blackest musical genre to sing about, you know, relationships and R&B. That's exactly what it is. Regardless if she knows it or not, she is engaging in a mechanism that can grow her up to her audience. She's not no longer little Ariana. This is a woman. Like this is someone with you know, love interest, and she has sex and she curses and she sings R&B tunes, even if those R&B tunes are good.
Right. And I think it's so interesting too that like, yeah, that kind of pop star era was so synonymous with like her being like, I'm not a kid anymore, I'm not an adult. And now it's almost like it's a different, it's kind of shifting back now, because a lot of people have also pointed out that now that she's in her new like Glinda Light sort of era, like she is trying to appear very like dainty and innocent and doing this sort of like Julie Andrews, like very like proper sort of vibe. And a lot of people have also pointed out that like maybe not intentionally or whatever, it's like a way of shielding her from criticism in regards to like her whole controversy with Ethan Slater, and the sense that it's like, oh well, now she's just a girl, she's just a girl doing little girly things, you know what I mean? Like it's not that she broke up a marriage, it's that she's just like, oh, like like I'm an innocent little girl and I don't know anything. Like it's interesting how, you know, that's all connected too, you know what I mean?
And yeah, like as so far, especially as like, you know, it takes two to tango. So even with that situation, regardless if she is like trying to innocentify herself, it you know, the onus still lies in that dynamic too. But like, you're right. You're so right insofar as, especially, you know, I thought about Kim Kardashian, like when you said that, because in the way how like the Kardashian family can adorn like black aesthetics can literally down to the children, to like literally from the men that they mate with to the children that they have. And then within an instant, you know, the BBLs are gone. The tan is now whiter. If you look at recent pictures of Kim Kardashian, she looks very much easily in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like, I mean, this is bigger than Ariana, is what I'm saying. Like, it is a trend and a systemic advantage and a level of flexibility that is not granted to the people that they appropriate or in some cases appreciate. And you're right, like with Ariana doing this, whether like it's her marketing agent, like, cause she is industry, like at this point, like she is a machine. So like there are people in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if those very people aren't inside her ear, like, okay, we need to change up your image because now we're going for that Broadway musical bag. We need to be able to see you on Broadway alongside, like singing in Cats and in Les Miserables. So like you can't be you can't be hanging out with Mac Miller no more. Like you can't be doing them type of things. Like you get me? Because that's a different lane altogether. And you're very right. Like she might not even be cognizant of the fact that like she's doing it. But at the same time, like I don't want to infantilize it by taking away from her autonomy by saying that she's not. I do believe that she is a functional, she knows how to be famous. I think Leon Thomas even said that like she's really good at being famous. And this is something that you gotta think about. Like, I'm sure she's aware of her image. I'm sure she understands the way how the business works. She's grown up in it. So she definitely knows that, hey, I gotta look a particular way. I gotta be thin enough to fit particular dresses and particular roles. And she smashed the role. Like, she did a great job. She sounded amazing. But yet again, that is all in a design that just works for her. And it's unfortunate that like I hope that she is able to use this opportunity and her privilege, because everybody has a privilege. You just depends on what you use it. And I hope that she uses hers to boost particular voices and gain them continence and access into rooms of which they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also like it's so, I think people a lot of time want to claim like, you know, like we're saying, like ignorance in the sense of like, okay, like maybe she's not super cognizant of it, but somebody is, because like, you know, one of the things that started off this whole conversation, what got me interested in making this video, is apparently people were posting those like compilations of how she sounds now versus how she sounded then. There was like a compilation that went viral of like somebody framing it as if like both Arianas are interviewing each other. And that got, according to, I have to look a little bit more into it, but I'm like 99% sure this is correct. That got taken down. That got DMCA'd by like her management company. You know what I mean? So like at the very least, like I guess whether or not, you know, like Ariana, like it's a debate about appropriation versus appreciation. Somebody knows that this is going to like pose a threat to her in the ongoing like award season run. You know what I mean? They don't want this out there, even though like we all remember it. That's the crazy thing about it, is like if you ask anybody like, hey, is Ariana like kind of different than she was in like 2016 when she was doing 7 Rings, like they would all say yes. It's like absolutely, what do you mean? It's like it's kind of this weird washing of like, no, Ariana Grande has always been this way. It's like, no, I don't think so. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think so.
And like it's hard to even like think of what her default state yet again would be, because she's just always been such a readily able protean actress. Like, and I genuinely don't know. Like, I miss the stuff that she did with 7 Rings. I mean, and Thank You Next and all the rest of that. Like, but a lot of that I gotta give odes to the producers and the writers that she worked with. Of course, like she's an amazing vessel for these songs, but she is the vessel for those songs. Like black artists, black producers definitely made that. Is she using her visibility and the way that album broke out into being taken seriously beyond Nickelodeon? Has she used that to build up the people around her? And, you know, yet again, like I remember like the lady that did what's the song with Twin, Where Have You Been? Mooney Long, that's her name. Yeah. She just came out and she was talking about how the song Timber, I'm Yelling Timber, she wrote that. Like she did that. She performed that, and then they basically manufactured it and gave it to Pitbull and them. And You never even heard. I never even. I would have never even attached to that song. And that song reached levels of success in engineering. I'm just now hearing of Mooney Long. I've been known about Pitbull Against My Will and Kesha Against My Will for decades. And that's what we're talking about. Like Pitbull, white, Latino, and people be like shitting on Pitbull, but make no mistake, that man be making his money. Like he be making his money. There's a market for Pitbull somehow, some way. And he's able to gain access into rooms and access into stadiums that, Mooney Long just has not been able to. And they also don't use that as a opportunity to boost them. So like I say, this is a system. This is bigger than all of these artists. And the way that we, of course, address it, even when looking at individuals, is in such a way that we keep looking at the different branches and that we don't necessarily get a chance to address the roots. And I'm glad that like you at least like bring it, you get the branch and then like you bring it back down to like, oh, okay, this isn't just her. Like we're seeing far too many interests. This is thematic. And that's the point. So at a particular point, like we have to begin to acknowledge the fact that, hey, G-Eazy's and Eminem's and Jack Harlow's and Ariana's and all of these folks, Billie Eilish's, they could just pop up with impunity with different styles. And something is fishy about it. Like, are we gonna address it or not? Like, don't even get me started on K-pop because shit, them BTS niggas still after me. I mean, like, I learned about Rap Monster, that killed me, and then now they calling me everything but a child of God inside their little Telegram groups. So, I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, it don't come for you too.
Oh my god! I got kind of interested in making like. I was like, it started with like a rabbit hole of like Scooter Braun and like where he's been, and now apparently he's like entrenched himself in the K-pop empire, and I was like, oh, this might be like a good topic for a video down the line. And I had so many people who were K-pop fans, like in my comments and in my mentions being like, don't do it. You're not equipped for it. They'll kill you. I was like, bro, like
they said the same thing to me. I've never seen someone so afraid. Like this is worse than the alphabet agencies. Like this is worse than the feds. Like they were just like, oh my God, they're gonna get foreign. I'm just like, bro, I've gone up against pretty much. I've called out everybody at every different place. Like the K-pop is gonna be they're gonna be my. Believe it or not, they have left some things on my comment section that I was just like, I threw it in the translator and I was just like, damn. Like even Google Translate couldn't translate some of those things. I got an error talking about hate speech. I was just like, oh, okay, it must be bad.
Oh my God. And that I guess also is kind of a broader point. I think I come to this point in a lot of my videos is like, stan culture and fandom is so entrenched in like any conversation about a public figure nowadays to the point where it's like, I don't know, I always feel like it comes back to no celebrity, no public figure is going to be perfect, is going to do everything perfectly, is going to have like teams built around them that don't necessarily have great intentions. What the interesting part of it to me is, and this is what I always come back to, I feel like whenever I do these types of videos and how the internet fell out of love in particular, is like who we give grace to. You know what I mean? Because people are not consistent with it. That's what I've found in every single one of these situations is like, I feel like this would all be easier to parse out if we all just collectively admitted that like our like means to give grace to certain people is not consistent. It's based on whether or not we like them. It's based on what they look like. You know what I mean? Like that's it.
We talked about it when we were talking about Cody Ko and Tana Mojo, like the idea of a perfect victim, because rest assured, like those things happen. Like she spoke a truth and she spoke it flippantly, and like she had to say it a couple of times, but people did like take it to a certain extent. Now also there's something to be said about like the fact that there's no demonstrable levels of accountability that ever happened to Cody. I mean, from that time that we talked about it to then, I mean, like I don't really think anything really manifested too much of, instead of him like stepping down from Tiny Meat Gang or something like that. But like ultimately a Tana Mojo, an attractive blonde woman that is, aesthetically canonical and sitting within like a range of, oh, okay, yeah, this would be on my Instagram feed and I'll think nothing of it. Like they get grace. They get, you might listen to them and take them seriously. Now, as opposed to how many different women, men in particular, all kind of people that even when trying to advocate for ourselves, we need to give the most palatable dissertation with APA format to just talk about something, our lived experience that we are experts on, but they be telling us that what we talking about ain't that serious. It ain't that deep. And you gotta like have all kind of footnotes and research and notes and a whole bibliography basically to talk about something that you went through. But they got to say, no, I don't think so, because I don't think systemic racism, actually, I don't think systemic racism is real, because I know a black guy that's a CEO and Obama was president once, so like twice. So like, hey, like I think it's fine. That is what I'm talking about. We are very quick to, let Brock Turner get off the hook because they remind us of, our sons and our fathers, like, and it's just an innocent boy, and, don't throw away their entire future. But if they look like me, straight up, like if they look anything but the white ideal, which is, or if they're poor, like, I mean, like this ain't even about color all the way. Like if they're not like rich, white, thin people, I mean, the risk is yours. You never know what's going to happen to you. You don't get the same grace. We're not playing the same game.
Absolutely. I think of another big example that I've encountered recently with this, and this illustrates what I'm talking to, is that a couple weeks ago, Trisha Paytas was like on SNL and made an SNL cameo, and then like people were talking about it, and they were like, "Yes, diva, slay," and it's like, okay, yeah. But if you interrogated, people are like, oh, like I thought we canceled Trisha Paytas. I thought, like, how is this happening? Like, how is Bowen Yang friends with Trisha Paytas? And it's because, like, and I said this on Twitter, where all discourse and nuance goes to die, where I was like, because you guys aren't morally consistent. No. That's it. And I literally had somebody in my mentions being like, yeah, I'm more inclined to like give grace to her than I am to other people. And it's like, okay, well, at least you're self-aware. Like, just be self-aware about it. You don't like, I feel like there's this weird, like, people don't want to admit that they have a bias when it comes to this stuff. And it's very frustrating sometimes,
And we're doomed to repeat it. Like, we're doomed to acknowledge, and it's only going to get worse. Like I said, like you got like Mark Zuckerberg coming out, basically sucking the boot, like deep throating the boot, actually, like before the boot even walks in the door. Like, I mean, it's only going to get worse. Like, edginess is only going to get higher. And we're entering it. I mean, not only we're entering, we've always kind of been there.
Right.
I think like it's just like very loud right now, but like it's always existed. That there is a reckoning to be had now, because like we've gone too far. Like we've let far too many women in high positions. We've let far too many black people actually somewhat, not get curb stomped and incarcerated. We let far too many indigenous folks not get genocided. And like we've had it, bring back the times when I could say the N-word with a hard R on my favorite social media and nobody could block me about it, and everyone cheers. That's where we're at right now. And that is a system, yet again, people don't make the connection that all these things are interconnected. So essentially, that wouldn't be too far off, like to understand that very system that allows for your very nondescript white guy to say that, to also, allow for just about any white music artist to take anybody's song and blow up off of it and give no acknowledgement to the things that basically allowed them to create the song, and eclipse whatever person that, would have helped them. So it's only going to get worse. I wish I had more optimistic things to say, but the best way that I could end it on a good note is that you at least have the acknowledgement that there are people working around it in order to kind of foster some sort of resolve when it comes to this stuff. Like for every Ariana Grande, you do have very talented, artists from all walks of life, and it has never been better time to find them. It's a democratization of music. So you can find them, but the point is like you have to actually go looking and you actually have to find them and engage with them. Support the world that you want to see rather than essentially, I'm aware of this, but I'm still gonna shake my ass to it. At the same time, you gotta go and you gotta go and do the thing. So next time, like when you hear like what's the guy name, a Garmon song or a Garlon song, when you hear your underground rap artists that sound like Ian, instead of Ian listening to him, like the white guy like with the frat boy outfit, instead of listening to him, listen to I can't even say listen to Yeet, because anyway, listen to someone that isn't Ian. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect note to end this on.